Ride number 2 on this 2026 Cervelo R5. Super excited. I really like this bike. Like I mentioned in my first ride video, pretty windy today. It's been a while since I spent a lot of time on a climbing bike or all-arounder. Been riding a lot of gravel. I used to have an Emonda, I've had an Allez. Of course, just been on a lot of different bikes owning a shop. The last couple bikes that I spent some review time on were aero bikes. Cervelo S5, Bianchi Ultra. Love them. They were phenomenal bikes to ride. Absolutely enjoyed them. I love riding fast on pavement. The speed, the way they carry the speed, cut through the wind. And of course, that's all seat of the pants. I don't have a wind tunnel. I got a little bike shop. We do some cool stuff, play with cool bikes. Maybe one day we get a wind tunnel, it'd be awesome. Anyway, I'm really digging the R5. I don't know. I just love how the bike feels. It's potentially the best thing I've ridden. The handlebars are awesome. They've got a really nice flex to them. They ride fantastically well. They look really, really good. The bike's fast. Has the stock tires on it, Corsa Pros. These are tubeless tires. They are not set up tubeless. I didn't build a bike. Bike got dropped off pre-built. A reps bike for us to have for a few days. Had tubes in it. I wasn't gonna switch it out because, well, it's not mine. Just riding it as is, how it got dropped off, and having a good time with it. Out on a ride here Sunday afternoon and found a couple of Strava segments to hit. There are a couple I've ripped through before with the Emonda and the Allez in the past. Probably been through them on the S5 too, I don't know. I have to look back at the times. I know I've been through with the Aspero when I had that kind of set up as my all-road roadie bike. In fact, I'd gone through there faster with that than I had at some point in the past with the Emonda. And then I'm just kind of general cruise around, making a little loop, get back to the house, enjoy a Sunday evening. It's been a wild weekend. The Check 40 was yesterday. I think you pronounce it Chequamegon. I think I might have just got that. So the Chequamegon, I'm just gonna call it Check 40. Check 40 was yesterday. Both my boys did that. They had great rides. I would say my younger one, the 16-year-old, had an exceptional ride. He's about 20 seconds behind his older brother, who's 17. Kyle finished 79th overall. Reed was 81st overall. I think my best ever finish there was 82nd. So pretty awesome, very excited for them. It's just really awesome to watch them grow in the sport, push themselves. They're doing Gravel Nationals next weekend. And then a few weeks after that, they are headed to Bentonville to do Little Sugar and Big Sugar. We opted out of doing the full Minnesota series. We did a handful of races. They did the marathon races kind of as a training deal. And then they did not do MCA. If you're not in Minnesota, MCA is the equivalent of NICA. Minnesota does their own deal. So they skipped out of that to chase some of these other races that they've kind of always wanted to do. Minnesota series kind of steps on some of those. MCA definitely steps on the stuff in the fall and kind of had to pick a direction. And they chose these other events. So I'm proud of them for picking a path, stick with it, going after it. The last marathon race, Kyle won, and it would have been enticing to keep doing the marathon races and switch focus or get in the way of what he was chasing here in the fall, and he didn't let it happen. Stayed focused on what he knew he had to do and opted out of doing some of the races at the end of the season. We kind of talked about using them as training and having fun. We enjoy going to them anyway. We sponsor the series. Life's about choices, coming up with a plan, figuring it out, and sticking to it. Anyway, we're looking forward to a good fall. Seems like I'm always saying this is a wild time of the year, but every year has its own kind of uniqueness about what makes it wild. So this time of the year is, one, you know, your big sales are going to wind down. Revenue and cash flow is going to start to drop. And you're ordering stuff for next year, trying to plan ahead, figuring out what that's going to be, coming up with a plan. Can get kind of stressful because you're committing on some things now that, you know, you really don't know how things are going to play out, what the economy is going to be, that type of thing next year. That said, if you don't commit on something, you kind of go into the season without a plan or what you're going to do, then you're just reacting. So we're trying to get ahead of it, have a solid plan with what we want to do so we're not reacting, and we know what we have coming in and we can put our focus on that for next year. I think we got a pretty good idea of where we want to go on that. I will say we don't have as many mountain bike options as we would like because our mountain bike vendors that we currently work with, although we love their mountain bikes, availability's been kind of tight. We're trying to sort that out for next year. I think as far as a light trail bike or kind of a very much endurance or heavier XC bike, I don't think you can really consider the Portal an XC bike, but definitely a light trail bike. Although I've had some very fast lap times on it, faster than my Super Cal that I used to have. And I'm not getting any younger. The Portal is really good. It pedals really, really well, but it's still kind of a heavy bike to be an XC bike. I think that bike's great, but most people would probably not consider it an XC bike. Love Niner bikes. rocket availability has been pretty light. We have the previous gen, love it. That's what Kyle's gonna race in Bentonville. The Air 9 hardtail's phenomenal. We actually, straight up, myself and both my boys, we'd prefer to ride the 9er Air 9 over the Cervelo ZHT, which is wild because the Air 9 platform is much older platform than the ZHT. And then we got the Spearfish. Very excited about that. I think the new Spearfish, I haven't gotten to ride one on a trail, but pedaling around, it's really good. We're building up a really sweet one right now, so more to come on that one. I've been saying this for a few years. Every time I get on a bike that has more trail characteristics to it, even though it starts to push the limits of getting outside of an XC bike, I end up faster on it. I have been faster on every bike I've owned since the Super Cow. And every single one of those bikes has been heavier and more progressive, more modern, slacker, longer travel. And I think, in my personal opinion, the reason is because those super fast XC bikes, they were meant for World Cup racers, like Tom Pidcock. He knows how to ride that bike fast. As good as I like to think I am on single track, and I'm pretty good on a mountain bike, I'm not anywhere near that. So I need a bike, personally, that is more forgiving. And I'm faster on a bike that allows me to make some mistakes. And that's where I think the bikes like the Cervelo ZFS came into play. I think that's where the 9er Rocket comes into play, running a 120 fork on it. My only complaint on the new Rocket is that the seat tube angle is super slack. So when you put a 120 on it, I mean, the actual is, it's just how the tube has to be designed around that linkage. But anyway, the bike can get excessively long if you have a long in-seat, which is me. But yeah, was very fast on the portal. And I really want to get a Spearfish out on the trail because I think the Spearfish is going to be an extremely forgiving bike and is going to make most of us a lot faster. Anyway, I'm going to get back to my ride here. Enjoy this R5. Look out for a review on it later. And see you then. Bye.